Good morning, Mega Podlings. Welcome to Crazy After Dark. I'm still trying to bring up the live feed here. There it is. Do I have the volume on this thing? Bear with me just a moment. It has been a night. It has been quite a night. I want my slaws in the room. Welcome, I want my slaws. Anyone else here? I'm still getting used to this new tripod that was sent to me by J2H, and I thank J2H for it very, very much. Sam Haskell's is in the room. Movie Hunter is in the room. Aubrey is in the room. Welcome, Damien, Hair Metal, Noladish. Hello, Noladish. It's good to see everyone. And I can hear right now that the dog is completely having a freak out upstairs, which means I'm probably going to have to go get him in just a minute. I swear, there's just not a second of peace. I've mentioned before that we have a little bit of trouble getting my daughter to sleep. Kira is about to turn 4 next year. She really has a hard time going to bed at night, and it's a constant fight to get her to go to bed at night. Well, tonight was like just the worst, the absolute worst. Kira was refusing to brush her teeth. Just refusing to the point that we told her we're going to have to do this the hard way. And she said, I don't brush my teeth. And we're like, well, we got to do it the whole hard way. We're going to have to restrain you and brush your teeth. Well, this got her so upset, and she threw such a tantrum that she got herself so upset she threw up all over her bed sheets. So then we had to strip all her bed sheets and start washing them. So it has been a night. I see more people are joining the room. Guys, just hang on a second. I got to go take care of this dog. The only problem is I bring the dog down here and the cat's here. And then, it's always something. Hang on. I'll be right back. Oreo, what's going on? Come on in. Cat's down there. Here he is. Say hello, Oreo. He's going to go to the couch. Don't fight with the dog or the cat, please. No fights tonight. I can't take it. It's been a crazy enough night as it is. Jules, you are under orders to leave this doggy alone. No hissing at him. No coming after him. Just stay on the other side of the bed and ignore him. And I'm back, and I'm exhausted. All right, what's going on? Bohemian's here. Sam's saying download Letterboxd, please. I'm on Letterboxd. I've been on Letterboxd for weeks. Boredom Strikes is in the room. Todd, Marie. Oh, what a night. What a night. So how's everybody doing? You're going to have to give me a moment to decompress. This has been quite a night. So, what's going on in the news? CBS and Viacom remerging? That's cool. All the Star Trek rights together in one place. I like that. I am happy. David Rembert says, how's your side? Oh, yes. I forgot. I mentioned that in the chat room on Cinema Sickness the other day. Yeah, but having pain on my lower left abdominal pain. It's subsiding. It doesn't look like it was anything serious. I went to urgent care Monday, and I'm on some medicine to ease the pain. And we're a couple days in, and it's feeling better. I mean, it's still, a little bit of pain. I was told go to the ER if it doesn't clear up by the week's end. So there we go. Jesse is here. Noladish says, so Joe, I recently rewatched Insurrection and Nemesis, and I remember liking them when I first saw them, but man, I really love them this time. I can agree with you halfway, Dish. I loved Insurrection. I thought Insurrection was really good. Some of the humor was kind of dumb, like War for the Zit, but some of it was also really funny. Like, smooth as an android's bottom, eh, Data? That's such a great line. It's one of the best lines in any Star Trek movie. Smooth as and then Data's reaction is priceless. I love Insurrection. I do not like Nemesis at all. I really don't like Nemesis at all. I feel like the villain has no motivation because Starfleet didn't do anything to this guy. It was the Romulans that screwed him. The Romulans took Picard's DNA without Picard's permission. They made this guy for a political means to try to, create a clone of Picard and intercept Starfleet. Then they were the ones who discarded him. They were the ones who decided to stick him on Remus and the mines. So it's like, well, the Romulans screwed this guy every step of the way. Picard had nothing to do with it. Starfleet had nothing to do with it. So I didn't understand what his beef was with Starfleet. I'm like, this guy's really got no motivation. So yeah, I really didn't. I don't like Nemesis at all, but I do really like Insurrection a lot. Aubrey says, what did the doctor say it was? They think it's just a bit of a strain. They think it's going to go away on its own. But, they said anything abdominal, you can't really be sure without a CAT scan. So they just want to take it a few more days. They said if by Friday it's not cleared up, then I got to get a CAT scan. Donald says, do I think it's possibly kidney stones? That thought hadn't occurred to me. And the doctor didn't bring it up either. So I don't think so. Bohemian Movies and More says, finally watched Endgame yesterday and I loved it. Oh man, it's such a good movie, isn't it? I was a little upset because I saw everyone on my Instagram and Facebook feed getting their Endgames in the mail on like Saturday and Monday because, Best Buy sends them out early. And I pre-ordered from Best Buy. Mine did not come until Tuesday. And when it did come, the steelbook was all dented up. I had to take it down to my local Best Buy to exchange it because it was dented to crap. And when I got there, they told me, sorry, we don't have any more. We have 41 in the store, and they're all reserves for people who pre-ordered them, so we can't even exchange it for you. And I was like, oh, damn it. So I went over to the wall where they keep the new releases, and I found 3 on the wall. I took it up to the guy. I'm like, you have 3. And he's like, oh, I didn't know we had that. Like, no problem. We'll do the exchange. But if I didn't go over and take it on my own to look on the wall, the manager was telling me there was not a copy to exchange it for. So I got it. I'm happy. Todd says, best of luck with your health. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Nola Deej says, I think his motivation was part revenge, part life salvation. He didn't have a hatred for Picard. He had a respect. He was hoping to get Picard to partner up with him. Interesting take. Nathan asks, have I had a colonoscopy? I have not. I have not. One of these days, did I just freeze or anything? Because my phone just got a flash flood warning. So I don't know if I paused, that was it. There was a flood warning on my phone. I turned it off. Anyway. I want my slaw says, I'm getting weight loss sleeve surgery soon. Can you wish me some luck? Absolutely, I want my slaw. I wish you all the luck in the world. Donnie says, I paused Endgame to watch you now. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm not as good as Endgame. I'll be honest, I'm not. I'm not that entertaining. What are you doing, Jules? I see you slinking around over there. Yeah, stay alert, Oreo. He's up to something. Aubrey says she still hasn't seen Endgame. Aubrey, man, you are going to be happy. It's very good. Kyle says, when am I going to bring back the blank me sandwich joke? I don't know. I guess it depends on when it feels appropriate. Geriatric Geek said, might be divertic. I can't pronounce the word. But yeah, my doctor has suggested that as well. But they don't think so because it is subsiding. It has been getting progressively better. Please don't whine. You're in the bed. What more do you want? I know, you want me over there with you. I'm sorry. Come on. I can't be everywhere. Brandon says, tracking info for my copy said it was at the local post office since the 6th. Sam Haskell says, what's my name on Letterboxd? It's Krazy Joe with a K. Krazyjoe. If you follow Down to Movie, he follows me. I follow him. So it shouldn't be too hard to find. And starting like last month, I've been tracking in the diary section every movie as I see it and doing short little reviews. So you will see every movie I have seen, both theatrically and on Blu-ray DVD, in that diary section, starting with the month of July, including repeats. So I've been sticking with it. In fact, I just earlier tonight updated it with the movie I watched last night. Jack Rath says, "Hey Joe, I missed you on CS Monday. Do you watch Pluto TV? I've heard of Pluto TV, but I don't think I've ever actually seen it." Joey Baseball says, "Hey Joe, Jules and Oreo in the same room again. Can't they be separated?" They were separated. I left Oreo upstairs when I started the stream, and then he was crying because I wasn't up there. And I can't leave Jules up there because then he doesn't have access to his litter box. Movies to the Max is now following me on Letterboxd. I'm going to assume that is Sam. Sorry, Sam. I hope that wasn't. Hope I'm not giving out sensitive information, given your screen name. If that was, I apologize. If I shouldn't have said that. Noladish says, so Spiner says he will in fact be playing Data in Picard. B4 is the android in the storage box, and Hugh will be back. I wonder if Lore is going to play in any way, because Data pretty much blew up. We saw Data blow up, so I was trying to think, how could you bring Data back? And the one thing I could think of is, well, what if his head was intact? What if they found Data's head like drifting through space? And we know Lore was taken apart. Geordi took Lore apart and put him in the closet, I think they said, after the events of the episode Descent. So if Lore was taken apart and in the closet, and they found Data's head, which has Data's brain in it, couldn't they just put Lore's body back together and attach Data's head? That's what I was thinking. Anyway. Joey Baseball says, Joe, watched your video of the storage unit, and I'm curious, what's the long-term plan? Storage units are a huge scam. The long-term plan is get everything out of my mom's house, and then when it's no longer an hour away, as it is now, sort through it, find out what we need, what could be donated, what we can get rid of. That's the plan. Yeah, right now there's a ton of stuff at my mom's house, and I don't even know what I have. Like, I don't even know. So I need to sort through it all. And unfortunately, that's going to take a lot of time. And it's not going to happen if those things are an hour away, because I'm not going to drive an hour and back, an hour and back. So it's just better to get them all over here. And then I have time. I can do it on my time, because it's literally a 10-minute drive over to the storage unit. So I can sort through things leisurely. So that's the plan. Noladish says, could Geordi have given him a second transporter pin? I suppose it's possible. Donnie says, does Spiner get extra money? Like, seriously, he's the sci-fi Eddie Murphy. Brandon says, I found a thrift store via Google located in Vineland, New Jersey called Crazy Joe's. Sadly, yes, they were no longer in business because of my lawsuit. I'm just kidding. Hey, Damien is now following me. Should I not be saying this? Should I not be saying who's following me on Letterboxd? I don't know. Because you guys, you might want your privacy, and then you're like, what? He just told everybody I'm following him? What's wrong with that guy? If that's the case, I'm sorry. Noladish says that's a good theory, too. I assume you're referring to the Lore head thing. I've gotten out of the habit. It's a bad. I really like to promote my friends. I really like to wear my friends' t-shirts when I do a live stream. But like the live streams lately have been so hectic, and then like we're fighting to get Kira to bed, and then I rush down here to do it, that I haven't had time to change my shirt lately. So I'm wearing Where's the Beef today, but I should be wearing one of my friends. I really should. Sam Haskell says, did you see the trailer for the new Eddie Murphy movie, Dolomite Is My Name? Oh, you know what? I made a mental note to watch that when I got home, because I saw it while I was at work. Like, I saw that it had posted, and I didn't have time to watch it at work. So I made a mental note to watch it when I got home, and then I forgot to do so. So, but I want to see it. I love Dolomite. Dolomite's a classic movie. I got the box set of the DVDs. I got a couple of them on Blu-ray. Aubrey says, what's Letterboxd? Aubrey, Letterboxd is an app that allows you to track what movies you watch and review it, and people can follow you and see what movies you're watching. Dave from the Lunchbox Bunch, Dave Perillo from the Lunchbox Bunch, was the one who initially told me about it. And I logged on for a few months, like a long time ago. And I really didn't see the point of it. So I kind of ended up deleting it from my phone and not using it again. But then Rick, just last month, was really talking it up. So I thought, oh, let me give it another shot. So I re-downloaded it. Sam says, yeah, oh, yeah, don't worry, Sam. I will do that. I will do that. I can't do it right now, though, because the phone is being used to shoot this. Noah says, I love the Where's the Beef shirt. I'm telling you, Noah Deej, man, you and I, we are cut from the same cloth. We think we have the same interests, and we probably share an equal love of the 80s. So one of these days we'll have to get together and have an 80s party. Oh, Nola Deej, thank you, man. He says he's getting a Mega Podtastic shirt. So you can all get Mega Podtastic shirts if you go to shop.spreadshirt.com/Mega Podtastic. Bohemian Movies and More says, good shirt for the release of Spicy. I didn't know Spicy Nuggets went away. Dave, Cinema Sickness Dave was talking about that the other day. I didn't even know they were gone. All right, give me a second. I got to go cover this dog. I'm coming, okay? I'm going to cover you. But don't come out from under the covers then, because then you did it yourself. I don't know what to tell you. There you go. You're covered. He likes to be covered up with the blanket over his head. Dolomite and Shaft. Absolutely, Sam. I love Shaft. Am I frozen? Can you guys see me? Am I frozen? Like the display screen, I'm buffering. Tell me how it looks. Connor Clark says, have you ever considered doing an office locations video in Scranton? Well, the only thing is the show was actually shot in California. It was actually shot in Van Nuys. But maybe some of the exteriors are in Scranton. I don't know. And Scranton's not exactly close, but I can... we'll see. Oh, I'm sorry, Aubrey. Aubrey says she can't use the app on her phone. Joey says, what's happening with Lunchbox Bunch? Batista's been calling more. It's just a case of Dave and I have to get together. And Dave was on vacation like a week ago. And maybe this Friday we'll get together. I'll have to call Dave. I haven't actually talked to him in a week. Everyone says I was not frozen. Okay, on my iPad screen I was buffering. So, all right. Donald asks, are there any digital copies you wanted? I don't usually use them since you... Oh, well, thank you, Donald. I appreciate that. I actually, I don't know that there's any that I'm looking for right now. Because I just got the Banana Splits movie tonight. And I'm dying to watch that. In fact, after the stream, I might be watching the Banana Splits movie. But other than that, and then a week ago, I got Alita Battle Angel and Escape Plan 3. So I don't know. If you got anything that you're not going to use, feel free to email me at megapodtastic@gmail.com. But and thanks for the offer. Kyle says, saw your video for Deadpool, not to be rated R. Oh, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. Well, you know, it's true. He's not rated R in the comics. So people keep saying, oh, Deadpool, if he's not rated R, he's not Deadpool. And I'm like, it's not true. I mean, you might prefer him to be R-rated, that I get, but you can't say that he can't be R-rated because he wasn't R-rated for the bulk of his existence. Noel Deej is getting back to work. Thanks for stopping by, Noel Deej. I appreciate it. Everyone, go check out Noel Deej's channel if you haven't. He's one of the great YouTubers out there, and I love his channel, and he's a great guy to boot. One of these days, he and I are going to get together. Several people in the chat room have good channels. Geriatric Geek's got a good channel. Got to check out Geriatric Geek. And Connor Clark says, have I ever seen Paradise with Phoebe Cates? I have not, man. In fact, I've never even heard of that one, to be honest with you. Oh, hey, everyone, I should remind everyone, if you're not subscribed to the Mega Podtastic podcast, we are in the middle of the dog days of podcasting, a different podcast every single day in the month of August. So this year, Christine and I are picking our favorite superheroes, and each day we're alternating picking a superhero. And occasionally we're throwing in some other people's ideas for their favorite superheroes. Like my daughter Kira did 2 episodes. So check it out if you're interested in the podcast. And then if you, I really recommend checking out the Mondo feed where you can hear every other podcaster participating in the Dog Days of Podcasting. You can hear all of us. And it gets very meta. People start referencing what's happening on the other podcasts. It's a lot of fun. Sam says, "Do I have Netflix?" Yes, I do. Eddie Murphy's new movie's on Netflix. Oh, okay. I've been meaning to watch that new sci-fi show on Netflix that stars Katie Sackhoff. I can't remember the name of it, but I got an email notification about it, and I watched the trailer. And Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Superman on the Arrowverse, is in the movie or the show. I'm gonna have to check that out. That new show. Donald says, "I don't need to sell. I don't use them too often." Oh, I appreciate Donald. Anything you know, I'll happy to have them. Thank you. Joey says, "How do you do a taste test review for the Impossible Whopper from Burger King?" Or how can you do a taste test? They have $7 taste test that includes the Whopper. What is the Impossible? Oh, the Impossible Whopper is that one that's like a veggie Whopper, isn't it? I actually just heard of that. I didn't know about it, and I heard about it on the Dog Days of Podcasting. One of my friends, Amy Bowen, mentioned it on her Dog Days feed, her show. She does like 3 shows. One of them is called Amy Talks About Stuff, and she talked about the Impossible Whopper, and I had not heard of it. Kyle says, "Where can I find the podcast?" You can find it in the iTunes store under Megapodtastic. You can find it on Stitcher. You can find it at megapodtastic.com. So there you go. Joey says, meant to ask, can I do a taste test? I'll keep it in mind. I'm not opposed to it. Yeah, perhaps I'll do that. It's an excuse to eat burger. I mean, I'm not really one for veggie burgers, but I'll give it a shot. What the heck? Donald says, "Who the heck wants a veggie burger? Meat is a good time." Jesse says, "I found season 1 and 2 of Night Court today for $1 each." Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Jesse. The only problem with Night Court is they only made season 1 and 2 for the mass audience. Or no, season 1 and 2 were one set, right? Am I right on that? I think season 1... No, I guess that's not right. I guess season 1 and 2 were separate sets. I think season 1, 2, and 3 were the ones manufactured for the mass audience. And then from season 4 on, you have to go Warner Archives. And as a result, they're a little expensive. I had to do it, though, because I love Night Court. So I got all the seasons of Night Court. But I remember seasons like 4 through 9 were like a little steeper because they were made on demand. Connor says, "What are your thoughts on this year's Halloween Horror Nights at Universal?" You know, I gotta be honest, Connor, I don't really pay attention to what they're doing there because I'm never there in October, so I never get to see it. So it's just kind of like torturing myself. I see what's there and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I remember one year they did for a Freddy Krueger house. One year they did a Spider-Man haunted house where it was like Carnage. And it sounds so cool, but I'm never down there in the month of August. I really should have traveled more when I was younger. Because when you get older, and this isn't a complaint, because I wouldn't change my life. I wouldn't change my life for anything. My life is great. I got a perfect wife and kids, everything. I'm so happy. So I wouldn't change anything. But with the wife and kids come responsibilities. You can't just pick up and travel. And when I think about how I had the freedom to do that at one time in my life and didn't take advantage of it, it's like, man, I was an idiot. I should have gone everywhere because I can't now, but I could have then, but I didn't then. So, stupid. You live and learn. You live and learn. McDonald's is getting spicy barbecue chicken sandwiches and glazed spicy barbecue tenders. Oh, very cool. J2H is in the house. Mr. J2H, welcome. Welcome to Zombocom. Nathan Brittle says, my theme song is too damn catchy. Megapodtastic. Thank you. Did you hear the full version? Because the full version's on the podcast. We only play a snippet of it at the beginning of my videos. We just play the word Megapodtastic. But if you listen to the podcast, you've got the whole version of the song. Joey Baseball says they claim the Impossible Whopper tastes exactly like the Whopper, and that if you have them both blind, you can't tell the difference. Well, that's interesting. It's like the Pepsi challenge of burgers. You're intriguing me. You're intriguing me. Now I think I kind of want to do this. I was before I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do that, and I meant it. Maybe I would. But now I'm getting like, oh. Am I back? All right. Sorry about that. Jamel is here. How was my day? My day was fine. How was yours, Jamel? Geriatric Geek says lost you. Well, I am back now. I am back. Aubrey says should do the blind taste test on the channel. I might do that. I might do that. Is that a permanent item, the Impossible Whopper, or is it something like a temporary limited time thing? It says, Donnie says the meatless burger is cooked on the same grill as the regular. So much for vegans. Oh, boy. So those who haven't been keeping up on their entertainment news, Viacom and CBS have remerged. And this brings Star Trek back under one roof. Because for the last decade or so, the movie rights of Star Trek were at Paramount, and the TV rights were at CBS. And CBS and Paramount had a clear line. One had the movies, one had the TV. And now it's finally all under one roof again, which is better. I mean, a split-up franchise like that is pretty messed up. Pretty messed up. And now that they are re-merged together, there's something I think they should do. And I was saying this about a year ago. I said if they re-merged, this is what they should do. CBS All Access needs more original programs. They got some good original programs. They got Star Trek. They got a new Star Trek on the way with Picard. They've got The Twilight Zone. It's not my kind of show, but I hear good things about The Good Fight, if you're into that kind of thing. But they need more. And I think they should do a Mission Impossible TV series. Because Mission Impossible started as a TV show. But they can really play it up that it's connected to the movies. You make Tom Cruise a producer on the series, okay? Because now he has a vested interest. He's a producer. Get him to be in the pilot episode. Get him to be in the season finale. Doesn't have to do much. Quick cameos. You get Tom Cruise in the pilot and the finale. And then whoever the star of the TV show is, you get that guy cameos in like Mission Impossible 7 or 8, whatever the next ones are going to be. And then you've tied them together. You've created interest so that people who watch the movies will, tune in to see the show. It's another draw to CBS All Access. And you've introduced a possible replacement for Tom Cruise when he's ready to step down. You can just get the star of the TV show, promote him to the movies. And even if you didn't watch the TV show, he won't seem that out of place because he had a cameo in the last couple movies. So you'll be like, oh, that guy who showed up. That's what I think they should do. Donnie says, why do you think they did the original and Next Generation movies, but never Voyager, Enterprise, or DS9 movie? Simply because the Next Generation was far more popular than Voyager, Enterprise, or DS9. Star Trek The Next Generation is the most popular science fiction series in TV history, I believe. At least it was at one time. If it's been replaced, I don't know. But for a while there, Next Generation was the most popular science fiction series ever. More so than the original. And when the Next Generation put out Nemesis and it wasn't performing at the box office, and Nemesis was the first one that really didn't even open at number 1. Every Star Trek movie opened at number 1 at the box office except Nemesis. It's the first Star Trek movie to ever open at number 2. And a J-Lo movie, I think it was Made in Manhattan, came in number 1 that week. So when the most popular crew they had was now no longer able to command the box office, they weren't going to hand it off to a lesser crew. I love Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek series. By a mile, Deep Space Nine is my favorite. It's not even a small margin. It's a huge margin. And as much as I love it, it wasn't as popular as the Next Generation. So if the Next Generation wasn't commanding it, DS9 certainly wouldn't have. And Voyager absolutely wouldn't have. And Enterprise was the first Star Trek series to get canceled prematurely since the original. So I don't think they were going to give them a big screen movie. There was talk about a movie that would have been set in the Enterprise timeline called like Star Trek The Beginning, and it was going to be about an ancestor of Kirk's during the Romulan War. I think they maybe would have given some of the Enterprise cast members cameos if it happened, because it would have been set in that time frame. But that fell through. And then Star Trek just went dormant until J.J. Abrams came along and revived it. So I think that's why we never saw Voyager or DS9 in a movie. It's certainly not Enterprise. I like Enterprise. Enterprise is a great show, but I don't think it wasn't getting the ratings on TV. There's no way they were going to hand a movie franchise off to those guys. But yeah, it's like when the Next Generation couldn't do it anymore, they were like, what do we do now? I mean, if people aren't paying to see Patrick Stewart, they're certainly not going to pay to see Kate Mulgrew. So that's why I think Voyager, DS9, and Enterprise never got a big screen movie. Joey Baseball says, Viacom brought Garfield, but Garfield just isn't the same without Lorenzo music. Yeah, Garfield, it's just not right without Lorenzo. You need Lorenzo music's voice coming out of Garfield. Donald says, Mission Impossible will be no Bounty Law. Well, I would love to see Bounty Law. Joey Baseball says, that Mission Impossible idea you have sounds like the Bradley Cooper movie Limitless they turned into a CBS show. Yes, that was a good show, too. Limitless, the TV series, was better than the movie. Unfortunately, it didn't last, but it was good. Donnie says, love Next Generation and Voyager. And Donald says, my ex-wife and I saw Made in Manhattan. Boy, that was a turd covered in burnt hair. Well, that turd outperformed Star Trek Nemesis at the box office, which is why we didn't get any Star Trek movies for 8 years. Craig's Game Room is in the house, and he says, hey, Cracky. That's me. Cracky. Connor says, did I like Batman versus Two-Face? It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. Greg says there could have been a combo movie of Next Generation, DS9, and Voyager. Hey, I would have paid to see that. You know, I know they wanted Jerry Ryan to be in Star Trek Nemesis, and she had no interest. She did not want to reprise the role of Seven of Nine. I think the reason, I don't know. This is gossip. I guess I'm doing gossip here now because I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I think the reason was Jerry Ryan was dating Brandon Braga, who was the producer of Voyager. During the run of Voyager. And after Voyager ended, she and he broke up. And he was still the producer on the Star Trek movies. He was a producer like on Nemesis. So I just don't think she wanted to work with him anymore. Like, I think she was like, no, that's my ex-boyfriend. I'm not going to work with him anymore. I'm done playing this character. I think that's why she didn't do Star Trek Nemesis, because they approached her. They wanted 7 of 9 in Nemesis. And she said no. And now she's coming back, and Brandon Braga, her ex-boyfriend, has no connection at all to the Picard show. So, I don't know. That's my suspicion. I think Jerry Ryan was keeping a distance because she didn't want to work with her ex anymore, which I can't blame her. I would, I got a lot of exes, and I don't think I'd want to take a job working with any of them. But that's just me. Jesse says, do I like the Jack Ryan movies? They're all right. I don't love them. They're okay. And Jamel says, how was my day? My day was okay. How was yours? Donald says, hey, Jesse, they did bring in Janeway. Yeah, they did bring in Janeway, which was kind of like, I felt insulting. That Janeway would be promoted to Admiral over Picard. Shouldn't Picard have been an Admiral before Janeway? That bugged me. Craig says, I heard Jerry Ryan didn't want to be in it because it was a nothing part. That could be true, too. I mean, like, I'm just speculating. I don't know by any means. Donnie says, 7 of 9 was never my favorite character. She was okay, but they seemed to really propel her character up. I actually think 7 of 9, the Doctor, and Neelix were the only interesting characters on Voyager. I didn't like Janeway. I didn't like Tuvok. I didn't like Chakotay. Tom Paris was okay, but even he was kind of bland. I felt like the only 3 characters that really had a pulse and a unique personality were Seven, the Doctor, and Neelix. And as a result, I feel like they got most of the stories. And I've heard people complain that it turned into like the Seven and the Doctor show. And I'm like, well, I can't blame them for turning it into the Seven and the Doctor show because they were the two of the most interesting characters on the show. Like, if you're a writer, you gonna want to sit and write a Harry Kim story? Like, Harry Kim wasn't that interesting. Ronald D. Moore, who was one of the head writers of Deep Space Nine, went on to create Battlestar Galactica. When Deep Space Nine ended, he went over and joined the Voyager writing staff. He was on the Voyager writing staff a very short period of time. And he told the story about how he went to Brandon Braga, who was his writing partner and the executive producer showrunner on Voyager. And he said, I'm trying to get a handle on the character of B'Elanna Torres. Can you give me an idea like who B'Elanna Torres is? And according to Ronald D. Moore, Brandon Braga said, oh, we gave up on her character. We gave up. We don't even know who she is. And it's like, dude, that's your character. Like, if you gave up on her, how am I supposed to find her interesting if you don't care? So I think that's why most of the later stories revolved around Seven and the Doctor, is because Seven and the Doctor were two of the only characters that actually had a pulse on that show. And Donnie says, thank God I wasn't the only one that thought that Picard should have been an admiral. Absolutely. Of course, Captain Kirk did tell him, don't get promoted, don't get transferred, don't do anything that takes you off the bridge of that ship, because while you're there, you can make a difference. Connor says, did I get the Endgame on Steelbook? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was talking about it earlier. It arrived banged up. I had to jump through some hoops to get it transferred. Sam Haskell says, did I see the trailer to Sextuplets? I did not. I haven't even heard of Sextuplets. I'll have to look that one up. Sam, didn't you leave? Didn't you say you had to take off? Did you just come back? Welcome back. Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Anyway. Greg says, love Janeway, the Doctor, Tuvok, and Neelix. I'm with you on 3 out of 4. I can't say I love Janeway, but I did love... actually, no, I didn't like Tuvok either. I didn't like Tuvok. You know what my problem with Tuvok was? He came off as cranky. Like, I feel like Leonard Nimoy and Jolene Blalock from Enterprise and Mark Leonard and Ethan Peck now on Discovery, they all kind of play a Vulcan as emotionless, but Tim Russ from Voyager, I always felt he played Tuvok as cranky. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to be emotionless, but you're playing it as cranky. That's not really emotionless. That's just generally annoyed all the time. I don't know. I think I don't think my problem was so much with the character, with how the actor chose to play it. I don't think Tim Russ really had the knack for playing a Vulcan, in my opinion, because he didn't seem emotionless. He just seemed like he was constantly pissed off. Like, he just seemed like he was really constipated or something. I don't know. Funny story. I met Tim Russ. I met Tim Russ 19 years ago. It was 2000. Voyager was still in the air. And I went out to LA with Dave Perillo. It was my first trip to LA, never been there before. And we went to the La Brea Tar Pits. And we're standing around the La Brea Tar Pits, and Tim Russ, Tuvok, goes by wheeling a baby carriage. And we look over and we're like, dude, that's Tuvok. Dave's like, is that Tuvok? No, it can't be Tuvok. I'm like, no, it's Tuvok, man. We're looking at him. And at this time, like, I had given up on Voyager. Like, I stopped watching Voyager in year 5 because I really didn't care for the show. I gave it 5 whole years. You can't say I didn't try. But I didn't really care for the show. And he was one of my least favorite characters. I really didn't like Tuvok. And Dave's like, well, you got to go up and talk to him. I'm like, go up and talk to him? What am I going to say? He's like, well, you're a huge Star Trek fan. How are you not going to talk? You see a Star Trek actor walking around, you're not going to talk to him? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what to say to him. Like, what am I going to say? Hey, nice to meet you. I hate your show. Like, I didn't know. And he's like, I don't know. So we're sitting there having this side conversation about how I should go up and talk to him. Are you going to get up and talk to him? No, I can't go up and talk to him. And he looks at me because I'm louder than I think I am. And he looks at me. Clearly, he hears me talking and just shoots me a look. And Dave and I both instinctively just went, and he just shook his head and walked away. So that was how I met Tim Russ 19 years ago at the La Brea Tar Pits. Donnie says, didn't Roxanne Dawson direct some of the episodes? Absolutely. She's a great director. She's directed episodes of a lot of shows, not just Star Trek. She directed a bunch of episodes of Chuck, and she's a very skilled director. Joey Baseball says, when you do the Impossible Whopper Challenge, make sure you specifically ask for the $7 taste test bundle. Oh, that's cool. Okay, thanks for the tip. Joey Baseball says, do you ever see Professor X as Picard, or is Stewart that great of an actor? Honestly, I don't really think of him as Picard when I watch an X-Men movie. I don't know. I don't really think about it too much. Donald says, love the singing Joe. Clean teeth, dirty streets. Clean teeth, dirty streets. Maria says, Joe and I always prefer to get Steelbooks in-store pickup if we can. Yeah, you're probably right. This is the only one I ever had arrive damaged, though. Usually they arrive a couple days later and in fine condition. This was the only, incident I've ever had with one. Rockin' Roger says, good evening, Crazy Joe. Did you watch The New Kids yet? I haven't. Not yet. Joey says, have I ever gotten in the movie theater popcorn seasoning? For home or at the theater? Because I know in the theater they do sell little things of seasoning. They make us popcorn every Thursday at work. Every Thursday at work's popcorn day. They make bags of popcorn and pass them out, and we get to choose our seasoning. And I've had them there. I've tried like the jalapeno and the, I don't know, I've tried a few of them. They're not bad. Greg says, what's my take on a Tarantino Star Trek? My take on a Tarantino Star Trek is, I hope to God it happens. I hope to God it happens, because it's one of those things that is so weird. It's just so weird that if it doesn't happen, we're going to spend the rest of our days wondering, what would that Tarantino Star Trek have been? What would that have been? And that not knowing is going to kill me. It's like one of those weird things like Nicolas Cage's Superman, where we're always going to know that that was out there as a possibility, and in some tangent, alternate timeline, it happened. And we're never going to know what it is. And in my mind is, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It really doesn't matter. It could be terrible. I just want to see what it is. Because we've had bad Star Trek movies before. Like, I just went on earlier about how much I don't like Nemesis. But, so it's like we've had bad Star Trek movies before. If it's bad, it's just another bad Star Trek movie. Who cares? Maybe the next one will be better. But I gotta know what it is. And it's gonna bug me if I don't get to find out what a Tarantino Star Trek would look like. That would just bother me to no end. So yeah, that's where I stand on Tarantino Star Trek. Oh, J2H says, am I wearing a Hulkamania shirt? No, I'm wearing Where's the Beef? Greg saying that the Boys is great. Everyone's saying that. I'm going to get to the Boys. I'm going to get to the Boys. J2H is also saying that The Boys is awesome. Joey says, didn't Tarantino say he's only making one more movie? That's right. He did say he's only making one more. So the question is, will it be Star Trek or not? And I don't know yet. I'm hoping. I want to know what that would look like. It's like, we hear about movies that could have happened, movies that almost happened, and it's just going to bug me if I got to go the rest of my days knowing that that was a possibility, especially considering that back in 1994 when Pulp Fiction came out, my friend Dave Perillo from the Lunchbox Bunch and myself and our friend Mike Jacopetti, the three of us used to always quote Pulp Star Trek. It was a fake movie that we made up. But it was supposed to. It was basically the Star Trek version of Pulp Fiction, and we would have Geordi and Data in the Vincent and Jules role, and be like, you know what they call the quarter pounder with cheese on Rigel 7? We'd have. It was like the Wolf. Remember the Wolf? I'm Winston Wolf. I've solved problems. Well, in our version, it was the Wharf. Like, you're calling the Wharf? I'm the Wharf. I solve problems. We had Geordi and Data take a dead Vulcan to Chief O'Brien's house, and he's like, did you happen to see the sign on my lawn that said dead Vulcan storage? Do you know what Keiko's going to do if she comes home and finds a dead Vulcan here? She's going to get divorced. But we used to quote pulp Star Trek all the time. That was our thing. So we were always joking about this pulp Star Trek, and now it's like on the verge of happening. Like not as we imagined it, but it's like, my God, I want to see it. Anyway, I have gone on a rant there. Joey Baseball says Invader Zim movie is coming out Friday on Netflix. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know they were making an Invader Zim movie. I liked Invader Zim. Bohemian says I need to get Detective Pikachu. I haven't seen that yet either. Sam says, what's my next movie? Probably, we talking theater or at home? Because the next one I watch at home will probably be the Banana Splits movie. Next movie in the theater will either be The Good Boys or something else opening this weekend. What is it? I can't remember. There's something else opening this weekend that I looked and saw it and made a mental note and said, that opens this weekend. Sequel to 47 Meters Down. That was it. 47 Meters Down Uncaged that opens this weekend. So it is my goal before the weekend is out to see both The Good Boys and 47 Meters Down Uncaged. That's my next theatrical trips. By the way, I have 2 theatrical trip movie review videos that still need to be edited together and released. So, Connor says, am I seeing The Good Boys this weekend? And ironically enough, I just answered your question, Connor. I hadn't even read ahead, but yes, that's my plan. Donald says, I read today that they're doing a Snake Eyes movie from G.I. Joe. Oh my God, I got something weird to tell you. I don't know how many of you guys are G.I. Joe fans, but there's a G.I. Joe character named Chuckles. He's the G.I. Joe undercover agent. He wears like a Hawaiian shirt and khaki pants. As a kid, I was always obsessed with Chuckles because he wore a Hawaiian shirt. Never one of the more popular characters. He was kind of one of the late waves, one of the final waves of characters. Nobody cared about Chuckles, but I love Chuckles. Nobody ever talks about Chuckles. But for years, I was tell Dave Perillo how I would love Chuckles to get his own movie, like a spin-off movie. And the other day, I was taking a walk and thinking about it. I was outside at work taking a walk, and I was thinking about how cool a Chuckles movie could be. And I thought to myself, that'll never happen. This is such a pipe dream. That'll never happen. The very next day, my friend Tony sends me a story, an article about how the next G.I. Joe movie is rumored to have Chuckles as one of the main characters. And I'm like, what? I'm just thinking about this yesterday. How is this happening? How is this reality? So yeah, apparently there's going to be a G.I. Joe movie with Chuckles in it. Who knew? I'm very excited. Nathan says there's a theory he won't count the Star Trek movie as his 10th movie since it's not really a Tarantino movie. Hey, Nathan, I don't care what he does, as long as we get to see that movie. I just want to see what he was going to do. Brandon says Good Boys was a lot of fun. All right. You saw it already? Yes, we mentioned that. I think we mentioned that last time I did a live stream, if I'm not mistaken, that you saw The Good Boys. Joey says, do you think they will let Tarantino do his own Star Trek? I can't imagine them cussing left and right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. And honestly, I'm not a fan of hardcore, like, F-bomb profanity in Star Trek. As much as I love Discovery, it bothers me that they dropped an F-bomb on Discovery because it just doesn't seem appropriate for Star Trek. But as much as I don't like that, the part of me that is just so curious needs to just see what he's going to do. I just got to see it. Yeah. It's pure curiosity. Donald says, I still have my Chuckles toy. Chuckles is the best, man, isn't he? Punk Nerd says, started school today. School got out at 1:25 today. That's awesome. Joey says, if Alfred the Butler can get his own movie in Teen Titans Go, then so can Chuckles. Funny thing is, they were making fun of that in Teen Titans Go, but at the same time, Warner Brothers was also working on a Alfred TV series. So it's like they're making fun of it here and actually doing it here. It's insane. Donald says, law of attraction, Joe. You think it will happen. Oh, I hope so. Brandon says, any interest in Blinded by the Light? Not really. Not really. I'm not much of a Springsteen fan. He's okay. He's okay. My musical tastes, you know, I'm a movie guy. I'm not a big music guy. I'm a movie guy. I like music, but music's like not my. I don't have a big eclectic love of like all these different kinds of music. I like what I like. I really like, you know, like old punk rock and ska from the 90s, and I like 80s music. I love the Monkees. But a lot of these things that I guess they would consider quote unquote classic rock, I'm not really into. Springsteen never really did anything for me. Never really cared for Elton John, so I didn't really go see Rocket Man because I'm not a big Elton John fan. And it doesn't mean I just like these things. It's not like I hear them and I'm like, this is crap. I just don't. It does nothing for me. Connor says, am I excited to see It Chapter 2? Absolutely. 3 weeks? Is it really that fast? Oh, man. I got to rewatch Chapter 1. Not surprising the Dora movie started out as a joke, too. Hey, it's crazy. I hear that Dora movie's really good. Jackie and Christine saw it this weekend. They both loved it. Yeah. Damien says, do I know who Mr. Blobby is? I can't say that I do. Please tell me, who is Mr. Blobby? I could Google it after the show if I remember. Joey says, Fuller House started as an April Fool's joke, but it got traction and became a real thing, so jokes become reality in 2019. Not a bad thing if it's something you want. Not a bad thing. J2H says, I watched a Dora movie once, but it was rated XXX. It was on the shelf next to Blank Me Sandwich, right? John Hickey says, are you going to see Scary Stories movie? I don't know. Maybe. It really hasn't gotten a lot of traction, has it? Like, I haven't seen like any trailers for that or anything. I mean, I know it's out, but like I've seen nothing on it. No commercials, no trailers, nothing. I feel like they really didn't promote that movie. Donald says, sounds like Wario is out from the blanket. He is. He just came out. I'm looking at him. He's sitting there. He's looking content. As long as he's content, we're good. Connor says the Dora movie was actually really good. That's what I keep hearing. I hear there's some really funny things in it. Uncle Joffrey is in the house and says, I just got a Tales from the Dark Side box set. Oh, very cool. Joey Baseball says, I can't get into the Dora movie. They put Dora in the real world. When on the show, Dora is a computer game. Dora's a computer game on the show? I didn't know that. I haven't watched enough of the show, obviously. Tales from the Dark Side. I do remember, Uncle Joffrey, I hadn't seen much of Tales from the Dark Side. I mean, I watched it on occasion when it aired originally. But I didn't watch much of it. And the Ben Stiller show, the old Fox series Ben Stiller had, did an episode called Low Budget Tales of Cliched Horror. And his father, Ben Stiller played like a radio shock jock who was actually in hell. And it was kind of funny. It wasn't one of the best skits, but it was amusing. So years later, Sci-Fi Channel gets Tales from the Dark Side and showing the reruns. And I get to an episode starring Ben Stiller's dad, Jerry Stiller, and it's the same story. It was the exact same story. And I was like, oh my God. Ben Stiller, when he did Cliched Tales of Low Budget Horror, was making fun of his dad. And it made the skit so much funnier. It's like you watch that episode with Jerry Stiller, then watch that skit, Low Budget Tales of Cliched Horror. It's hilarious. Anyway. Donald says Tales from the Dark Side movie is awesome. According to Stephen King and George Romero, I believe that's also Creepshow 3. think they said that they count that as Creepshow 3. Joey says the entire point of the show, she's in a computer game and the viewers guide her to the destination. There's even a cursor. Oh, that's interesting. Uncle Joffrey says, I have him intrigued. Yeah, no, check it out. If you're watching your box set and you get to an episode with Jerry Stiller, when it's over, just go over to YouTube and type in like Ben Stiller. I'm assuming it's on YouTube. I don't know. It may not be on YouTube. It was just like a skit because it was a sketch show, the Ben Stiller show. Donnie B says, I never knew Dora was a computer game thing. It was after my time and before my daughter's, so we never watched it. Yeah, pretty much the same here. Joey Baseball says, just like the Blues Clues takes place in a storybook. But Blues Clues does not take place in a storybook because Blues skidooed out of the story. He was originally in a storybook and then he skidooed out. I saw the origin episode. Donnie says, I grew up with DuckTales. DuckTales was a classic. Well, guys, we have been going for almost an hour. So I think we should call it quits soon. Uncle Joffrey says, just found it, Joe. I'll save it for when I watch Tales. Awesome. Donald says, I grew up with He-Man. Me too. I am a big He-Man fan. Damien says, Carlos Estevez needs to make a new TV show. God, what is he doing now? What is he doing these days? That show he did, Anger Management, it seemed like it wasn't on that long, but they made like over 100 episodes, like super fast. Like they must have just been cranking that show out because I don't know how they made that many episodes that quickly. Movie Hunter says, never give up, never surrender. J2H says, been digging the podcast. Thank you, J2H. The podcast, I got to figure out what to do with the podcast. The podcast is difficult. The podcast is difficult because, I don't know, it's a timing thing. YouTube's easier. YouTube's much easier than podcasting. I just turn the camera on myself. That's all I need. I just need one guy, me. I don't have to worry about coordinating schedules with people. Podcast is a little trickier. Joey says, we will be waiting on bated breath for your blind test of the Impossible Whopper. Damien says he's doing a signing at a movie convention here in the UK. Ooh, who is? What did I miss? Oh, Carlos Estevez. What are you going to get him to sign? Navy SEALs? Ooh, Navy SEALs. Hey, what does everyone think of Jay and Silent Bob reboot? Because I got to be honest, I bought a ticket. I'm going to the Fathom event. I've seen every one of those View Askew movies going all the way back to Clerks. I've seen every single one of them in the theater. So I'm going to see this one in the theater too. But the trailer does not look very good. I mean, I don't think it looks funny really at all. I mean, is anyone having a different reaction to it? Like it just seems like it's pretty much the same thing as Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back Again, and that's already my least favorite movie that he made with those guys. Like they're very much supporting characters. They're funny to come in and say a line here and there in Mallrats, but they're not good as the main characters, I don't think. Joey Baseball says never liked Jay and Silent Bob. Donnie says I have never honestly watched the originals. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong with Clerks, Mallrats, and Chasing Amy. Those three are great. I even love Clerks too. Dogma and Jay and Bob Strike Back get a little weaker. And Donald says, I agree. I have to see it, but it doesn't look that good. Joey Baseball says, Jay and Silent Bob were on Degrassi with Drake, and in the Drake I'm Upset music video. See, I haven't seen Degrassi since the original Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. I never saw any of the Degrassi The Next Generation stuff. Well, guys, I believe we are going to be wrapping it up pretty soon. What is this? It's an icon on the screen I'm wondering about. Brandon says, going to meet with Joey Lauren Adams at Monster Mania this weekend. I had a very nice conversation with Joey Adams when I was an extra in Chasing Amy, because she wasn't that well known. I guess nobody really was then. Ben Affleck was there, and this was obviously before he blew up, before like Armageddon and like all those kind of blockbuster movies he started appearing in. The thing he was best known for at that time was probably Dazed and Confused, and maybe and Mallrats, because we were like, hey, look, that's the guy who played Shannon Hamilton, the proprietor of Fashionable Mail. But Joey Adams was very, very nice. I was talking to her between takes on the movie, and she was like super, super nice. Then I met her years later at a Chiller convention, and I found her to be kind of rude. So I don't know what happened. Maybe I just caught her on a bad day. I don't know. I don't know. Donnie says, night, Joe. I'll get, yeah, you will enjoy it, Donnie. Go enjoy your end game. Joey says, I think you can buy the Jay and Silent Bob Degrassi episodes separately on DVD, and you can watch the I'm Upset music video on YouTube for free. I'll have to look for them. But I do think Jay and Silent Bob are probably, they're great supporting characters, but I don't think it works when they get the spotlight. Like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and even Dogma. Dogma, they were kind of like sort of main characters. I don't think those are among the strongest films. But the Clerks movies and Mallrats and Chasing Amy, I just think are spectacular. All right, guys. Breaking news. The Jay and Silent Bob episodes are on YouTube for free on the Degrassi official YouTube channel. Well, thank you. I will check them out. And Damien says the Jay and Bob cartoon movie was weird. That's what I hear. Not the first. That's not the first I've heard that. All right, guys. And am I frozen? Am I frozen? I'm buffering here. I'm buffering here. Rich says, hey, everyone. Rich, unfortunately, I was just about to wrap it up, but I don't know if I'm... See, I'm frozen on this side. And the chat stopped here, too. I can't even see the chat here. Movie Hunter says, no buffer, I'm good. Okay, there we go. What happened? The chat has stopped. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. All right. Okay, guys. I'm going to say goodnight and keep wearing those pajamas. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.